Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be playing through the introductory scenario of Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Now, for some of you, this may be a very, almost too basic scenario for Gloomhaven. If you are familiar with Gloomhaven, you probably know everything we're about to cover here. This is a very watered down scenario. But if you have never played Gloomhaven before and are interested in starting with Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, not only do I think that's a great place to start, but this scenario is a great stepping stone. So there is a lot of additional tips and tricks on the board here. Again, this entire game is set up so that all of your map tiles, all of the obstacles and everything like that, all of this that was set up in the original Gloomhaven is all taken care of. That is so beautiful in my opinion. So essentially, Gloomhaven is a dungeon crawler with this very Euro feel to it. There's no dice rolling. There is flipping over of an action card, which will mitigate your attack power or your range, things like that. So you can miss in the game. You don't always know how much damage you're going to do. But essentially, the enemy is always controlled by normally a deck of cards, but actually in this scenario, they have just a very simple standard initiative and movement and attack stats. So they don't even have us pulling out any of the cards for the Vermling Raiders here. So what we will be doing is playing through this introductory scenario so you guys can get a feel for how to play Gloomhaven in a very simplified version. This also is part of our Shame Week here on the Meeple Marathon, because I am playing through all the games that have been sitting on my shelf for a long time and I haven't gotten around to playing. So I actually picked up Jaws of the Lion way back when it first came out and still had not finished my Gloomhaven initial Gloomhaven campaign, which took my brother-in-law and I about close to 3 years. COVID didn't help to actually finish up the campaign. So this one's been sitting there and I've just been waiting really for no good reason. So let's go ahead and get started. So the round always starts with you choosing which two cards from your hand you are going to play with. So your hand, you don't have a deck that you're going to draw from blindly. At the beginning of the game, all of the cards that you're playing with, your hand limit is available to you, and you're going to pick two. Now, right off the bat, there's two things very important about the cards. One is that you always have to do one top action and one bottom action. So if you pick two cards, if you do the top action here, you're going to have to do the bottom action here. The other thing is this number in the middle here is your initiative number. Now, you could have, say for example, these are two good cards to make this example with. You have two initiatives here. So technically, when you're playing, if you're playing with someone else, you're supposed to take your cards and say you want to go early. You're going to say, I want to go at initiative 23. You're going to put those down like that, and you're going to wait for your player, and they're going to go, I'm going to go at initiative 42. And then technically you're going to flip over a card for the enemy, and that would say the enemy is going at initiative 50. Well, in this case, they're making it very easy for you. They're telling you that the Vermling Raiders have an initiative of 50 each round. So you can know whether or not you're going to go before or after them. But then everybody would flip over their cards, and you would say, okay, well, the Void Warden is going first at 23, then the Demolitionist at 42, and then the Vermling Raiders at 50. Then once you have started your turn based on the initiative order, then you can decide which card you want to play first, which card you're going to use for the top and the bottom. More than likely you've already figured that out, but just in case your initiative order is thrown out the window, say you played at 42 and you thought you'd be going second, but say there's several monsters on the board and they all activate before you. I activated it. Next thing you know, you're last, and you weren't expecting to be last even at 42. Or even like, say the Demolitionist did 20 and went in here ahead of me and killed off this Vermling, and I can't reach this one or any of these other guys. Well, then I can change how I use my cards. I just have to use these two cards. So let's take a look at what we can do with these cards. So now these starter cards here again are very nice for beginners because they have these blue boxes which are essentially telling you what that action is going to do. So for example, this one says use the monster's attack modifier deck for this attack. We don't have that modifier deck right now. That's what I need to check if I was supposed to get that out, because it said don't and then if a character is adjacent to them, attack for their base attack value of 2. So I'm wondering if I should have gotten out their attack deck. Monster attack modifier. I think we should. Okay, so here are the modifier cards. I'm just going to shuffle these up, and these are for the monsters. Alright, so use the allies attack modifier deck for this attack. Use the monster's attack. One adjacent enemy suffers 3 damage plus the modifier. One enemy within 4 hexes suffers 2 damage plus modifier. Disadvantage if adjacent. Okay. Move 4, attack 3. Alright, so let's keep this pretty simple here. I'm going to put this up here by them. And 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's do that. Let's try and get some movement going here, and then we'll do a ranged attack. Okay. So we're going to go there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. All right. And so then we will try and go before them as well. And we will do okay. This will just give you a good example of some of the gameplay elements. Okay. So normally in a game, you would play these face down, but I'm playing solo, so I know exactly what my cards are. So the Demolitionist is going to get to go first here, and I am going to use the bottom one of this card and the top one of this card. So from my starting position here, I can move 3 hexes away. So 1, 2, 3 puts me right there. Then I will do an attack 4 at range, or no, attack 2 at range 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count 4 hexes and hit this elite Vermling Raider here. That's all the rest of these I put here so you guys could see the artwork better, but I wanted to make sure I knew who the yellow one was. So my base attack is 2. I have shuffled up my attack modifier deck over here, so it's going to be 2 plus or minus whatever this card says, and it's 2 plus 1. Alright, so 3 damage, 2, and there's a 3, and this guy's number 1, so we put that right there. And he has a health of 8, because he's the elite, so we're looking at this side over here. All the rest of them have a health of 4. Alright. So I am now done. Neither one of these cards, I use the action that would be one-time use. It doesn't even look like any of those are even in my deck right now with my starter cards. So sometimes you have very powerful actions that are one-time use actions, and they will have a symbol on there that'll tell you that these, it'll look like this little tiny symbol, well, blank card with an X on it. That card is lost. You can no longer use that card. Even if you wanted to use the other action, you've lost your card. But for now, I can take these and add them to my discard pile. So for the next turn, I have access to these. I started with 6. I have access to these 4. I will either have to do some sort of rest to get these cards back out of my hand, and we'll talk about that if we even get to that point. All right, so we know the Vermlings are initiative 50, so I get to go first with my Void Warden. We are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to stay in the action. So I've used the bottom one down here, so I have to use the top one up here. I'm going to stun Right? Yeah, 1, 2, yeah, too far away. So I'm going to stun this guy right here. All right, no attacks or anything like that. I simply stun him, so he's kind of out of the mix for this next round. And I put those right there. Okay, so now the Vermling Raiders get to take their turn. Normally you would follow the instructions on a card. We haven't flipped over a card, so they're simply going to move their base value, and then if a character is adjacent to them, attack for a base attack of 2. So you always start with the elites. Elites have a movement of 1, both of them have a movement of 1 and their base attack of 2. So this guy just goes boom. He's done. Can't do anything. He's not adjacent. He has no range, so he's done. And then this guy here, he could either go 1, 2, 3, 4 to be adjacent, or 1, 2, 3, 4 not adjacent. So this is actually the quicker route for him. So he's going to move 1. This guy is stunned, and this guy's going to move 1. You remove the stun marker from him. He's now activated, so he's no longer stunned, and that's it. No more turns for the Vermling Raiders because everybody's activated. They have no range. They have to be adjacent, but they only have a movement of 1. Looking at them, you'd think they'd be kind of quicker, but they're not. So, all right. So, one adjacent enemy suffers 2 damage. Then the same or a different adjacent enemy suffers 1 damage plus the modifier. So if I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm not going to get there. Move 2, destroy 1 adjacent obstacle if you do perform strength self. Okay. Destroy. Attack 3, stun, attack 2, muddle. Okay, so I'm going to save you. And then I'm going to play you and you. Alright, so again, I'm just leaving them up because I know what the numbers are, and I'm just playing by myself here, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so green obstacles are obstacles that cannot be entered, but I believe I can draw a line of sight through them. Let me just confirm that they didn't change any of this stuff from standard Gloomhaven. This is the one thing that always got me was terrain. Doors, scenarios. I was always looking back into the instruction manual. I should have highlighted the terrain section to make sure. Oh, can you move through this? Is this going to damage you? And what they don't have is a reference book, reference sheet here. Let's see if that's on you. Glossary. Obstacle. Obstacle hexes are surrounded by a green border on the scenario map A. Single border contains a single obstacle. Obstacles cannot be moved through. If an obstacle is destroyed, an obstacle hex containing a destruction token is considered empty. Okay, but it doesn't say you can't shoot over. It doesn't block line of sight. So I think I'm good. Alright, so let's get some movement and perform. Actually, let's do this. Force 1 enemy within range 3 to perform attack 3. Yeah, I like that. So let's get a move on. Heal 2, range 2. Alright. Yeah, I like this. Okay, so we're going to play this. Okay, so we know they're 50. We are get to now the Void Warden's going to get to go first because we did 23 and 42. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is to actually 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I do need to move. So here's the bottom action, which is a heal 2, range 3. None of us have taken any damage. I don't need to do that. But you can see here that I could also use this bottom action for a 2 movement. I could always use the top action for a 2 attack. That's the same on every card. So that's all I'm going to do is use the bottom action for a move 2. So I can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, stay away from this guy because I have less health than the Demolitionist. That's good. And now I will use the top one. Force one enemy within range 3, so 1, 2, 3, to perform an attack 3 targeting an enemy of your choice adjacent to them. So I'm going to have him attack this guy. So the VIP here is going to go after this guy. And yeah, we'll see if we can't get lucky and take him out. It says to use the monster's attack modifier deck. So we flip this over and it is +1. That was exactly what we needed to take him out. So he's gone. Boom, just like that. And we are now done with the Void Warden. All right, so over here, we are going to use our attack first on this guy. So it's attack 3. And it's we got our ×2. So ×2 is definitely enough to take this guy out. Boom, he's gone. And also, as I take enemies out, I should be placing coins down. All right, so also, when you see the ×2, see how it's got the arrow symbol? That means that at the end of my turn here, I need to shuffle this deck. So anytime you get the miss or the ×2, you shuffle your deck. All right, but I attacked, and so now I need to do this. Move 2, so I'm going to go 1, and actually just stop right there. Now, does destruction cause damage? Discard, difficult terrain, destruction, destroy obstacle. When any figure destroys an obstacle, place a destruction token in each hex that obstacle occupied. An obstacle hex containing a destruction token is considered empty if an obstacle consists of multiple hexes. So it doesn't look like I get any damage for it. The Cragheart used to be able to damage people around it, but I will destroy this obstacle here. Right? No. Let's within range 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's destroy this one so we have a clear path to this guy. Okay. All right. So I have finished my action there. They get to go. So he's going to move 1, not adjacent. He's going to move 1. He's not adjacent to anybody. All right. And that's it. Okay. So at this point, I either have to choose these 2 cards. I can decide which one I want to go on top and bottom. Or I would have to rest. Now I have 2 options for resting. I can either short rest, which means I take my discard pile, I shuffle it up, and I randomly choose one to lose. It's gone for good, but I don't know which one it is. But I get those cards back, and I don't miss a round. Or I can long rest. Long rest means you're basically sitting out a round. Not only do you get to heal during that time, which I haven't taken any damage, so I don't need to do that, but you also get to choose which card you lose. So your deck is always shrinking throughout the game. You're always losing cards. Your hand size, or the amount of cards you can take into battle with you grows, or no, it doesn't grow. It's always going to be 11 for him and 9 for him. So you can see the Void Warden will always be able to last longer in battle. But it's always going to shrink throughout the game, and so you're going to lose a card when you want to get cards back. It also keeps you from just saying, all right, I'm going to play these 2 cards down, and then I'm going to rest and get them right back, because that would not be a very good strategy. That would not be very good hand management. So we're just going to play with what we've got here, just so we can stay ahead of the Vermlings. We're obviously going to play like this, and now we'll figure out what we're doing. So we're going with the Demolitionists first. Okay. All right. So we've got some options here. We are going to do the bottom one here. So I'm going to move 2. I'm actually just going to move 1. I don't have to move the full movement. And destroy one adjacent obstacle. So it's actually good that I went here and destroyed that other one before. So I've destroyed these two, or that one obstacle, double obstacle. If I do, I strengthen myself. So, boom. Strengthening simply means that I will get to, let me just make sure I'm remembering this correctly. Strengthening means I get to flip over 2 cards, and when applied to a figure, it causes them to gain advantage on all their attacks. Yes. All right. So, I've used the bottom one here. Now I'll use the top one. I get to attack for 2 plus a modifier. So strengthening means I get to flip 2 cards and choose. Well, they're both -1s. So, all right, I hit him for 1. And now I get to an attack 1, still strengthened, +0. Okay, so 1 again. All right, so we're up to 5 on the elite here, who's finally going to get to attack me unless I attack him first. So let's see what our Void Warden has. 1 ally within range 2 may perform an attack 4. I like that. Yeah, so let's do this. 1 ally within range 2 can do an attack 4. We're going to have that be the Demolitionist, who is still strengthened. It's not the end of the round. So why not go flip 2 cards, and obviously we're taking the top one. That would be 5. It's definitely knocking out the elite here. So he's gone. We can remove these, and that would put a coin right there. All right, and then if I move to here, I will be adjacent. So I'm actually going to use the bottom one here to go 1, and you can move through allies as long as you don't end up on their space. And there we go. I ended up on the space with the coin, and so I will actually get to gain that coin. Okay. But that is it. The void, or the Vermling, now gets to go. He comes down here. He moves 1. He's still not adjacent. At this point, I'm going to take a short rest for both characters, simply because long resting is not nearly as fun, but sometimes is strategically necessary. But I want them both to be finishing up here. All right, so we are losing Black Boon. There you go. So that card is lost. I now have access to these 5. Same thing over here for the Demolitionist. We give it a shuffle. And we have lost the big one. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can't end this now. Yeah, I think I'm going to play that one, and this one, and here I need to move 2 at least, and then attack for 3, so we'll go early, and we'll use up all right. So there we go. We are ready to go. 20 and 49. So the Demolitionist is going first. He may end things here. I'm going to use this move 2 again. I don't have any obstacles to destroy, but that's fine. So I won't be strengthened, but I am going to attack that character and muddle him if he survives, which means he'll gain the opposite of strengthen. I should throw that back. He will gain disadvantage, but I am attacking him for a base of 3 plus 1. That's 4. It didn't even matter. He is gone. At this point, we have successfully completed the mission. Technically, the Void Warden could finish out her turn. I guess she could go 1-2 and end up with 2 coins here. You know, there should be a coin here now, but nobody's going to be able to get it. But that's essentially the end of the game, because the goal up here is kill all enemies. So the goal has been completed. That is the end of this scenario. So we get to read the conclusion. You wipe the blood of the last vermling from your face, and your thoughts return to the sleeping lion. Surely you've got a stew ready by now. It would be so perfectly warm and soothing and it's right through that gate. So close you can already taste it. But then another thought comes. It is highly unusual, brazenly, for a pack of vermin to operate this close to the city. Could they be behind the string of disappearances? It's a long shot, but one worth investigating, especially since considering this ambush site doesn't look like their base of operations. There's probably a nest nearby that with any luck will have more information on the missing blacksmith and treasure. Treasure would be nice. So our reward is actually not anything except a new location that can be now played, which is most likely going to be the next scenario. And you can see we've added a sticker to our nice small little map here, but we completed this one here, and so now a hole in the wall, which will go in B1, is going to go somewhere right here. So this was the first one. We went ahead and put this sticker on for roadside ambush, and now we'll be putting the second one on somewhere around here somewhere. So that's basically it. Then you could keep playing, flip this page over, and continue playing. So I really appreciate how they the scenarios are set up in this game. Super helpful. We'll record that we got 2 coins. It's actually going to be a multiplier based on the scenario level, which is 0 right now, so it might not be much. But that essentially, in a nutshell, is a very, very watered down version of Gloomhaven. But it's a great stepping stone. If you are not familiar with the game, that's how it plays. Essentially, it's all about hand management, choosing your moves, hoping that you get to play those moves with, within the time frame you wanted. But initiative order is always fluctuating. It helps if you're playing solo because you know both players what their initiative order is, but normally you don't know what the enemy's initiative order is, and that definitely can change things up. You also don't know necessarily what they're doing. They could heal up one turn instead of just say running at you and attacking. So, but that has been Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more video content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. As far as Shame Week is concerned, this one is definitely staying in my collection. Just due to COVID reasons, I didn't get around to it as quickly as I wanted to, but I definitely want to play through this. I've heard a lot of great things about it, so we will be continuing this campaign. If you are interested in seeing the rest of the campaign, either in its entirety or just some scenarios further along, please leave a comment in the section below, because I'd love to know whether or not I should continue filming this campaign. So once again, thanks for watching. Let's continue with Shame Week.